Zombie apocalypse.
What's up guys, it's Patriots Man here and I am back with another video. Today guys, we're going to be talking about 10 Madden Max token strategies to help you guys build as many Madden Max players as possible. These are of course our endgame players in the game, and we're going to be grinding for these players for 3 or 4 more months until Madden Mobile 24 comes out. Now as time goes on, it's going to be easier and easier to get these players. So today, let's go ahead and talk about right now what the 10 strategies I have are to build Madden Max players. Tip number 1 is going to be a baseline tip for the rest of Madden Mobile 23. If we go over to the trades and check out the S8 trade-ins or the S1 to S7 trade-ins in general, when it comes down to it, an S8 base iconic gives you 300 max tokens and an S8 iconic foil gives you 857. So what you want to do is when you grind a promo, try to get a random iconic master first. Then whoever that random iconic is, make sure you do a select trade and foil that very same iconic to get an iconic foil. The reason is you're getting more than double a base iconic token trade here, so it's 300 for a base. When you build 2 of these base, instead of trading in those 2 base iconics, you're going to want to foil that player and get 857 rather than 600. And this could be the same for our future field passes because S9, S10, S11, those ones are going to give us a lot more tokens for trading in our players, and I would assume that foiling players in those is also going to be worth it. That is tip number 1. Number 2 here is absolutely massive for the NFL draft promo. It's a current tip, which means it's not going to be around forever, but here in the NFL draft promo, we have these top 10 iconic players that were added into the game. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Anderson Jr., Anthony Richardson, Devon Witherspoon, Paris Johnson Jr., Tyree Wilson. All these cards are base 181 to 183 overall cards. Now when it comes to the NFL draft promo and all of the promos in Madden Mobile 23, building a random iconic takes 5 randoms, and building a select is going to take 3 select ones and 3 random epics. And usually what you want to do in a promo is first build the random like we talked about in our first tip, and then go over to the selection, foil whoever that is with the 3 selection and 3 randoms. But when it comes down to picks 8 through 10, the 181 overalls, the Bijan Robinson, the Jalen Carter, and the Darnell Wright, these 3 cards are basically selects, and they take 5 random epics just like a random iconic takes in the NFL draft promo, which means you actually want to foil these guys in the NFL draft promo instead of going for the usual 183 overall masters here, because these guys are all just random epic. You're selecting who you want for 5 random epics, which means you can get a foil for 10 random epics in the NFL draft promo. That equates, of course, to 1 random Madden Max player. So make sure you build the picks 8 through 10, the Jalen Carter, the Darnell Wright, the Bijan Robinson, any of them. Build either of them twice, trade them in for their iconic foil, and then turn that foil into 857 Madden Max tokens. Get yourself a random max. Number 3 is be picky with which uncommons and rares you guys trade in when you're building Field Pass power packs. Now what I'm talking about is, let's scroll down to the Future Stars trades here. Go to the Future Stars power pack, and of course you trade in 6 uncommons and 1 rare player. We are all familiar with this. But the thing is, with Madden Max, now all of your uncommons and rares are going to have different values. S1 to S7 over here, 2 uncommons will only get you 1 Madden Max token, whereas in S8, when you trade in a singular uncommon, you're getting 2 Madden Max tokens. Over here, for S1 to S7, when you trade in a rare player, you get 3 Madden Max tokens. When you go over to S8 and trade in a rare player, you're getting 12. So what you want to make sure you do is do not trade your S8 players into the Field Pass power packs when it comes time for S9, or even right now, because in S9 the tokens are going to go up again and the S8 cards are worth more than S1 through S7. So when you're building these power packs, only trade in your S1 to S7 players, because those guys go for less Madden Max tokens. Number 4 is going to be hold off on trading in any of your players for Field Pass power packs right now. As you guys know, S9 is going to drop next week, and with it will come brand new power packs to get S9 uncommons, rares, and epics to either add to your team, build iconics, or simply just get Madden Max tokens. And those values are going to be much higher in the trade-ins. So do not build any of these S8 guys. So of course, there's going to be much better trade-ins next week. Now still, trade in your S8 uncommons and rares in the S8 trade-ins, but do not build any actual power packs until S9 drops, because they're going to have much more valuable players inside. Number 5 is going to be talking about the S8 uncommon to rare trade-in here. So when we go over to Future Stars, as you guys know, you can trade in 7 S8 uncommons to get 2 rares from S8. When you tally up the values of the uncommons you're putting in 14 tokens worth of Madden Max tokens, and in return, you're getting those 2 rares, which are 12 each. That's 24 in return. So every time you do this trade, you are getting a profit of 10 Madden Max tokens. So make sure to look out for this trade. And still, when you do the 10 for 2 epics, you're putting in 20 tokens worth and you're getting 24 back. So you're only netting 4. So I would be patient, honestly, and wait to see if you can do this trade first. Then when you're done, go ahead and complete the other trade, because you're still going to get a profit here from 20 tokens to 24. I also wanted to add this the same for the promos. So looking at draft and most other promos this year, when you trade in 5 uncommons, you do get 1 rare back in return. Right here, it's 2 per uncommon. You're putting in 10 tokens and you're getting 12 tokens back. So when you guys are done with the NFL draft promo and just done as a whole, not building anything else, I would go in here, put your uncommons in for the draft rares, and go ahead and trade in those rares for 12 tokens each and get yourself extra Madden Max tokens. I would assume this may be the same for the upcoming field passes and the new conversion rates in S9, S10, and whatever is next. Number 6 is where we start to talk about which players to take off your team if you're trying to get extra Madden Max tokens. Now you guys are going to kind of see what my progress is right now on Madden Max. I have Joe Thomas, Ryan Jensen, Penei Sewell, Bo Jackson, Jim Taylor, Eric Berry, TJ Edwards, Foyle, TJ Watt, Darren Woodson, and Chase Young. So the cards you want to take off your team in order to get Madden Max players and extra Madden Max tokens first is going to be who you replace in terms of your starters. When you do your random Madden Max trades, what you're going to want to do is put that player on your team, of course, and whoever you replace, put that player that's no longer on your team straight into Madden Max, whether it's a base iconic, an S1 to S7 foil, S8 base, S8 iconic foil. All of them are going to get you guaranteed Madden Max tokens, and you're not going to be using those players anymore, so those have to go straight in. They will help you out to get more Madden Max tokens. Number 7 is going to be taking out special teams players on your team that have a good trade-in value, which I would consider 210 plus, being at least an S1 to S7 foil player. So when it came to my team, I did take out the kicker I had, which I believe was like the Sugar Rush kicker. That was 300 Madden Max tokens. I put in Young Hoku right there. Then in terms of my punter, I actually had the S8 Jake Camarda from the Field Pass. So I took him out of the lineup, put in this base rare Jordan Stout here. Actually, it's an S6 rare, but that's besides the point. We took out our S8 punter. He traded in for 300 Madden Max tokens. And you don't use your punter, honestly, so I would probably take out your punter if it is worth a lot. Say your punter is worth like 60 Madden Max tokens, like this Marcus Jones kick returner, or even the punt returner. I would leave those guys in for overall purposes, because those are just 60 Madden Max tokens, and you can live without those. If you guys are in a crunch and you need extra Madden Max tokens right now, you could take out your other guys if they're not worth a lot, but I would take out your most valuable special teamers because those guys don't really see the field. Number 8 is going to be careful about taking out players you guys don't have a good replacement for. Now, here's a good example on my team right now. You guys probably noticed it already, but I do have an epic Justin Jefferson. Now, in terms of gameplay, I've actually been very surprised how good he's been, but I did take him out to get extra Madden Max tokens yesterday to trade in and get an extra random. Yesterday, I got a second TJ Watt via random, and I also pulled Ryan Jensen. So those guys were a kind of a byproduct of taking out my foil Monroe St. Brown. And my point here is going to be, don't take out players you guys don't have a good replacement for, because you're going to have these low overall players across your lineup, and then you're sacrificing that for a few Madden Max players. I wouldn't really take an iconic off your team. If you guys don't have another base iconic waiting or something like that, or a player you guys know you guys are going to add to your team very soon back in their place. But honestly, if you're not as competitive, you can do whatever you want with your team. I'm just trying to help you guys out and try to maximize how good your team is while also getting Madden Max tokens in the process. Number 9 is going to be consider taking out early promo foils off your team, but no other starters from S1 to S7. So let's take, for example, this Calais Campbell here on my team. He is an S5 foil player, a very old foil at this point that trades for 210 Madden Max tokens. He goes for the same amount as this Robert Hunt, this S7 player who's a fairly recent player and still good on my team. As we know, the token drop off when you trade in S8 players compared to S1 to S7 is very, very large. So what you want to do is players like your S7 players, your S7 foils, don't get rid of those guys because they're still pretty good. All your S1 to S7 foils are going to go for the same rate, 210 Madden Max tokens. So in this example, Robert Hunt versus Calais Campbell, I could live with taking Calais Campbell off my lineup because he's an S5 foil. He's back from like January, and that's like 3 to 4 months ago at this point when it comes to the game. So when I'm thinking about it, I would take this Calais Campbell off my team in a heartbeat compared to Robert Hunt, because Robert Hunt's a base like 180 or like 187 overall card, boosted up to 217, all that, so he's still a very, very good piece on my team. In the end, still refer to the previous tip we talked about, where you don't want to take players off your team unless you have a good replacement in the wings. Number 10, it's going to be about taking S8 players out of your lineup if you guys would like to. So as you guys know, the S8 players go for an incredibly larger amount than the S1 to S7 players. We've referenced that throughout this video through all of our tips. And what you guys may want to do right now is take off some of your S8 players if you guys want to get some random maxes to start off your team. The odds are you may have a couple iconic foils, some iconics, and you could build up a really, really good stack of Madden Max tokens. In fact, that's how I got a lot of my Madden Max tokens right off the bat. Some of my Sugar Rush players, some of my S8 players, some draft players, stuff like that is kind of how I got a good start here with Madden Max. And of course, you're going to get less Madden Maxes over time. You're not going to get like 5 Madden Maxes in one day like you did at the very beginning. But what you want to do is try to at least get these S8 players out of your lineup if you can, if you have a solid replacement, going back to tip number 8 once again. And the reason I'm kind of giving out this tip right now is we know that EA has changed the values already on the Madden Max tokens pre-Madden Max. And when S9 drops, it has kind of been said that EA is not going to change the S8 values. It's going to stay at 2, 12, 60, 300, 857, 2040. But then again, do we really know? I mean, in the past, EA has loved to change these values on us and stuff like this in the game that helps us out. So if you guys are kind of superstitious about it and you want to trade in your S8 players now, in case EA for some reason decreases these values when S9 comes out, you guys can do that. Just make sure you guys have a solid replacement in your lineup, or hopefully you pull a Madden Max that will replace whoever you took out of your lineup. So that's going to do it, guys, for today's Madden Max tip video. We covered 10 different tips to help you guys out in Madden Max. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.